Hi guys, it's time for history again. Episode 2, so still need a catchier name. Well, as usual, I'm just going to go through some content, so follow with me before we start. Always remember that you have your notes, hard copy, okay, writing materials. So take things down, study actively, don't just sit there and absorb. Make sure you're comfortable, make sure you are ready to learn. If not, stop now so that you can actually get into a situation where you can make this time useful. Okay, so if you're missing anything, please pause. Remember before we start that if I meet any new words or if I explain a word that you don't know, you can always pause, go and Google the word. Okay, take your learning seriously. Take active steps to learn something new. All right. Remember, all my materials are on Google Drive. You should have the link, so go and access them. Okay. So previously, we were talking about Hitler's rule. The question is, of course, is it positive? Pardon my handwriting, or is it negative? And we talked about political impact, and now we want to look at economic impact. Okay. And the last time we looked at, hold on, let me change my pen. Yeah, the last time we looked at economic redevelopment, right, which is like a big picture kind of thing. But today we want to look at something which is a bit different. Rather than the overall impact on Germany, we want to look at the effect on workers and militarization. So if you think about it, both of them have a direct effect on the people, which is why I split the chapter like that. Okay, so let's go. This is what we want to look at. Let me change back to red. We are looking at 2B and 2C. So you should have your notes with you and you can follow along with me. All right. So now we are looking at the effect on the workers. Here, when we talk about workers, guys, we are talking about the German citizen, okay, your average blue collar German worker, okay. And if you think about it, the average German citizen is probably very much like you and me. We don't have much agency. We go through our lives, we go to school, we go to work, life carries on. And against things like the government, the party, the army, big institutions, okay, how is the worker going to say anything, right? It's like you in school. You're just one student. You know, how can you make a difference? How can you make your voice be heard? And that, ladies and gentlemen, is where this thing called the trade union comes in. If that sounds familiar, NTUC actually stands for National Trade Union Congress, which is something like that. Okay, so if you read the slide, it says the purpose of a trade union is to provide the common worker with a voice, a form of representation against two things, the state and the employer. If not, the employer has all the power. Okay, so how does this work? Let me just do some basic conceptual understanding. If I have one worker and one boss, the worker can't control anything. But if I have 1,000 workers and one boss, the worker can say, boss, I need some help. You know, I need shorter working hours. Is the boss going to listen? No. But if 1,000 workers say, boss, please lah, change. If not, we will just all leave at the same time, 2 hours early. You see now, then the union, which is to say the group, right? They have some sort of say because they have a new identity. They have somebody to speak up for them. Okay, so I guess the closest representation you can think of is maybe your CCA Exco or student council. Okay, so all the councillors, please think about how you want to get things done. Okay, so now we understand that the trade union, who are they representing? They are representing the common worker. This is who they are. Okay. However, what does Hitler do? Okay, Hitler abolishes. Abolish means to remove. Okay, to delete them from existence. Okay. Instead, he doesn't. Hitler's very smart. Remember, we know that he has a good oratorical skills, and he's also manipulative. So he doesn't just take things away. He gives them an alternative, which is the Deutsche Arbeitsfront. We refer to it as the DAF. The German Work Front. Okay. So what is this? It is basically a gigantic Nazi trade union, although it is phrased as the DAF, the German Work Front. Okay, and all the workers are automatically part of the DAF. So it's like you're being forced into the group which you don't want to be in. Which kind of defeats the purpose of a trade union, right? The purpose of the trade union is not to be part of the government, not to be part of the employer. But now it appears that the trade union is controlled by the state. What is the impact? Think about the lives of the workers. It takes away their ability to make their voices heard. They have no say, right? They have no rights, they have no say. So think about that. This is the impact. So yes, you have a job, but you don't really get to say much, do you? Okay. And it controls the life of the workers. So if you look at the slide along with me, it says cannot strike, cannot riot, cannot bargain. I mean, then what do you have a union for? Okay, you need permission to change jobs, which basically means that if you don't like a job and it really sucks, you can't change it. And employer control is increased. So if you think about all this, who does it benefit? It benefits the state and the employer, and it actually is increased control over the workers. So the DAF is completely antithetical to what the trade union is supposed to be. Oh, sorry, antithetical is antithetical. It comes from antithesis. Go and do what I told you just now and go and Google it. Go and find out. Or while you're at it, go and find out what is a Hegelian dialectic. Oh, shucks. Should be useful for your essay writing. Okay, so anyway, back to trade unions. Big picture, what is going on? Yes, employment rate goes up, economy gets better, but the people, I have a job, but I can't complain about. Not say cannot complain. They have no choice. They have to accept the job. Okay, so is it a positive or negative impact? They are both, right? So you need to categorize that by yourself. Okay. Here we come to a slightly more iffy part. Okay. Now if you're a worker and you think about, hey, I have to join the DAF and it's like that, I don't really want to join. Now the Nazis are, as we know, they are masters of propaganda. So if you look at the first point, okay, it says that the Nazis recognize the need to provide some benefits. Of course, I must, drop the carrot in front of them. So how do they do this? Firstly, there's Nazi propaganda. Okay, this one we don't need to focus so much. The next thing is what I want you to focus on. The DF have things like strength through joy as well as beauty of labor. These are things which are set up to increase the quality of the life of the workers. Okay, let me explain a little bit more. It says there was a form of control. Why? Because if you think about it, I say strength to joy says, oh, you can watch movies. Okay, once you complete, let's say you complete 20 hours of work, you can watch 2 movies. You say, oh, great, I can watch a movie. What you don't realize is that I can choose the kind of movie you want to watch, and I'm going to give you another movie, and it's going to be a propaganda movie. So it is a form of control. Okay, so even leisure activities and holidays, I can control the activities and the holidays that you go for. Okay, beauty of labor says, I will improve your quality of life. Let's have a coffee machine, but you have to pay for the coffee machine. So again, it sounds good, but it's really good. Okay, of course there is a difference between perception and reality. Okay, so if you think about it, the Volkswagen. Okay, it is a car that everybody can afford. Remember, Volk means people. So it is literally the car of the people. Okay, so that is the Beetle. Okay, by the way, this is a typical Nazi banner which we must learn to recognize because of SBQ. Okay, so there you have it. I think that's on the left, the blue one. It's quite a recent model. I don't know. I can't drive. So let's have a look at the effect on workers. We know that economic redevelopment is generally quite useful. So let's have a look. They did provide the German people with a concrete improvement to the standard of living. Why? Because it seems as if the DAF can actually give you holidays and activities and things like that. Things you would not have if you weren't under the DAF. Okay, however, along with these so-called liberties, there is also increased state control, which means a loss of individual freedom. So these two things, they get summed up in the last point here, right? Physical condition is a positive, but social welfare, in terms of how I feel about myself, amount of control, amount of freedom I have, it's a negative. Okay, So this is a useful point you can always use for both positive and negative examples when you're writing your essays. Finally, third point, this is no longer about the effects of the DAF, okay? We have militarization. What is it related to? Remember the 4-year plan? Okay, this is, well, it's not directly related, but it's also related to Germany wanting to prepare for war, okay? So in 1935, conscription was introduced. What is conscription? It means that every young man basically has to enter the army, okay? Compulsory service. We have it, Israel has it, some other countries have it, okay? So soldiers who go in, they are conscripts, which is basically what I was and what some of you are going to be, okay? Remember that this is not supposed to happen because the Treaty of Versailles actually banned it. It's a fun fact that you should remember, okay? Why is it good? Because being a soldier is a job. So this creates jobs for people. And the second point here, we have already talked about it. It's about the 4-year plan, right? If I need more soldiers, it means I need boots, which means I need a boot making factory, which means I need people to make boots in the boot making factory. Okay? As well as the Air Force, the Luftwaffe. Same thing, if you want to make planes, you need raw materials, you need workers, which means you are creating jobs for people. Okay? So, by and large, the militarization of Germany, that is to say, or shall we say more accurately, the remilitarization is beneficial for the German economy. Of course, what it will result in is later on World War II. Okay? So that brings us to the end of this part of the chapter. It's time for the joke of the day. So the question is, there was a well. Let me try to draw a well. This is not a very good well. Let's do some shading. Clearly, forget it. And there was an old man. Let's give him a walking stick, some beard. And then he fell into the well. Why? Because he couldn't see that well. Okay, say